Thanks for tuning in. Today we have with us Robyn Smith, and what I took away from all the wonderful stuff you're doing out in the world is from frustrated to fulfilled. That really hit my spot. Thank you for joining the show, Robyn.
Such an honor to be here, Samantha. Thank you for having me.
I can't wait to get to know you better. So tell me and the audience a little bit more about yourself and how you ended up doing this work, just so we get to know you.
Okay. Well, it started as I was a yoga teacher, and I still am, and I've been teaching yoga 26 or so years. And it's such deep work, and yet I wanted more depth with people because it's such like I'm teaching, to a group, and I tell people what to do with their bodies. And so I did teacher training where I got deeper into yoga philosophy, and that was so rich. But I still wanted more depth because in that immersion and teacher training, people's lives were changing, and it was awesome. And I was like, there's more. And I wanted more for my life. Yoga was so wonderful for me, but it wasn't helping my relationships. And I was struggling in my relationships. I had a great relationship with my husband, but we still had some arguments happening, some disconnect. And with friends, I was having issues. And so I actually started a women's group, and that helped me to just feel more connected. And then from there, I got into a coaching program where I learned relationship skills and tools that really transformed my life. And so from there, I was like, I'm becoming a coach. This stuff's awesome. I want everybody to have these tools. So that's the nutshell version of what happened.
Sounds a little bit about the leadership training. I thought you were also in Shanda Sumpah's Hardcore Leadership. It's also called Landmark, and sounds a little bit like that was your experience.
I think there's some crossover there. My first training was with Gay and Kathleen Hendricks. So I was in what they called leadership. It was a 2-year leadership and transformation training that I did with them. And
2 years.
It was transformational. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I continued to assist them and do additional trainings. And then I went on to study trauma. And what I do more now is the work from the NARM training that I did, the neuroaffective relational model in developmental and complex trauma. And so that was like, this was like, 7-8 years ago, I was hearing about trauma and like, gosh, it feels like I'm missing something, so that's why I went on in 2016 to start studying trauma. And it was like, that was the cornerstone that I felt like I needed to help my clients to take it to the next level. So
2 years is a long time. That's gonna be really life-changing. It was with Daniel Hendricks, you said?
No, Gay and Kathleen Hendricks.
Oh, Gay and Kathleen Hendricks. Oh, I know them. I hope they're coming on actually, but they're not. They're going to, yeah, maybe. Yeah. I did interview Kathy, and then Gay was not on, and I did something and I deleted it. I hope they're coming back on, both of them, in January or February. So
awesome.
So 2 years with them. Yeah, they're amazing. That's amazing work.
Yeah,
it is. It's truly like a new life, right? And then I feel like I'm in this limbo because I want the deep relationship. Once you become aware that this is possible, you also feel a little empty because you can see the gap and the potential, right? So sometimes I wish I didn't know this, then I'd be fine. My family relationship would be fine. But now I feel like I have a crap relationship, and they're like, sorry, my language. And my stepdad's like, do you think we have a bad relationship? Yeah, now I know it's possible inside that room in leadership training. And then you come out in the real world, and it's not that easy. And then I feel like I'm stuck. Transit sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I feel tempted to coach you right now, but that's not why we're here. So.
I actually did that on my previous interview. That was very interesting. It became a live coaching session. So let's focus on the woman today watching, and not enough about me, and coaching me in these interviews. So the woman out there watching, it's about managing your emotions, right? And what I like was you're from frustrated to fulfilled. So what's your advice to the woman sitting there, frustrated in her marriage?
Yeah. There are so many levels to this, so the work that I do, I actually have a group program where we go through all the levels together, because you can't just, I can't just convey it all in 20 minutes here, but so one level is really befriending your emotions. And that's so key, because a lot of us have, especially women, have a lot of judgment about our emotions. Like, we're not allowed to be angry, and we shouldn't be scared, and, but it's okay to cry, but you shouldn't be mad. So there's all this judgment that we should unwind and unpack, I think, about our emotions and become more friendly with them. So that's one. Another one is to learn to actually experience your emotions as energy in your body. because that's part of how you befriend them, really, because we think of emotions as our thoughts, but they're actually physical. They are energy moving through you. So the more we can do that, the more we can just allow that to happen.
Mhm.
But as far as relationships go, so if you can't befriend your emotions, it's hard to have your emotions, right? so that really is like a first step. And then you can be more friendly with, it's okay that you're angry, it's okay that I get angry, you know, and frustration is just is sort of on the spectrum of anger. And so like making space for that, and also understanding the roots of that. And often when we're angry, we're really scared or sad underneath. And so getting underneath a little bit more. And that's what I do with my clients too, and really getting to the core of it. And the more we can do that, we get to the truth. And the more we can express the truth with ourselves and with our beloveds, the more we're going to get seen, heard, and understood. Like, and everybody wants that. We all want and need that, you know, to feel connected. We all want connection.
Yeah.
So we have to kind of source the truth of who we are and befriend who we are on all levels, emotionally and physically and energetically and all of that, and mentally, and then let that be seen. And that takes work often, because we have a lot of shame that, you know, we're hiding parts of ourselves. We have a lot of self-judgment, self-hatred. So there's some layers to work through there in order to be, you know, in that place where you're having an authentic, free-flowing, loving relationship. It's not just like, here's some tools and do the tools, you know, there's like inner work, I think, that really is important.
And it goes back and forth, right? You get a little taste of it, and then it doesn't just switch on overnight. You tend to go back and forth.
It takes time to unwind these. I think of it like a ball of string that's like, you know, tightly wound, and like, you know, sometimes it's tangled and you have to like pull this thread, and then, oh, now we have to kind of loosen that one over there, and that's connected to that. And so there's these layers that all of us have that makes us complex beings, and it's worth taking the time to unwind that, so you can have that just nice free flowing ball of string
Of energy. Yeah. Like one big, like when the cords are all messed up.
mm-hmm.
The wires.
Yeah.
What were you going to coach me on? I'm curious.
Well, I don't have any information yet. I would just be asking you, like,
Oh no, okay. I thought you had something on your mind.
Think about being stuck, and, you know, where are you stuck, and then you're comparing yourself to something you don't have. So I was curious about that. And
when we do this transformational work, we see what's possible, right? And we want it with all of our people in our lives. And it's, for me, it's easy with my clients and my new relationship, but my old relationship dating back from boarding school, I do feel a lot of it's great to see them, but I'm constantly comparing maybe to when I'm coaching, and it's such a godly experience to be coaching, and it feels much more honest and authentic, because that's the name of the game. And then I'd love to be the same 100% all around, and I am most in my volunteer work and when I do work, but with my old friends that I've met before I did this, it's different anyway. But I love what Gay Hendricks says, shine a beaming light. You were talking about shame, and Gay Hendricks says, shine a beaming light on it. And that for me really moves fast and evaporates everything. And just don't hide anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah. And it's not like we're going to be totally open with everybody. You know, we get to pick and choose who we want to be open and vulnerable with, who we want to get to know and have intimacy with, and other people, you know, we're going to have a more superficial level of relationship with, and that's okay.
So seen, heard, and understood, was those the three things? Seen, heard, and understood. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I hear constantly from people who seek me out, you know, and who do work with me, that they want that.
Heard and understood.
Heard and understood, especially. And yeah,
that's what I wanted from my husband. I so desperately wanted him to understand me, but letting go of that was important, because a man, he would never understand me because I'm different and I have so many thoughts, and he would just be like, he would give up if that was the criteria. And then I'd feel really hurt, like, oh, you don't understand me. So I thought the solution was for him to understand me. And that was the whole basis for the argument. I call it the solution-based argument way of explaining, right? So you think the solution is, if I could just explain myself to him, then he'll understand. And then you chase that solution and you create even more war, because the more you try to explain yourself, the more you actually explain blaming to him.
Yeah. Well, it
Like, get
depends how
rid
you
of that
explain.
solution. The problem is what you think is the solution. That's the problem. Because he will never
Yeah,
understand. How can he understand you? He'll understand you when you shut up, right? Or with your feelings, but not with all the words, was my experience.
exactly. Yeah. And that's why that, I speak about the feelings. It's like getting to the truth. And then how do you express the truth is not that, like you're saying, not that explanation, all the words, and you did this, and this is why, but like the core of it is just like, I feel sad or I
Yeah.
feel scared, and when we can get to that and just that, as the Hendricks say, the unarguable truth, which I love that term,
Yeah.
that's where we get heard and understood.
Yeah, it's not right or wrong or not. And to say it to ourselves, because we don't need to say it to him. I think I was explaining myself to my husband because I didn't understand what was going on inside of me. So how could he understand when I'm not even understanding myself? I'm just thinking out loud with no filter, and I shouldn't do that towards him or my sons. So say it to ourselves, I'm sad. Okay, what's up? Have the dialogue alone, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it depends. Like, it's different with kids and different category, but with our beloveds, I feel like we should be able to say whatever. But that's where, like, learning how to speak in a way that you can be heard, and we can't always be heard when we have this this language of, victimhood or blame, we call the villain or the hero language. We're going to get pushback, we're going to get defensiveness, we're going to get more arguing. So that's where we get stuck, where we get into problems. And the frustration that I speak about is like, we're not coming across clearly and authentically, because there's all this other, like, static.
You can't be heard when you're hurt. That's actually what I picked up, was my aha moment when you spoke. You can't be heard when you're hurt. H-U-R-T.
Yeah. Well, so I think you can, if you express that truth of the hurt, like, I just really feel scared right now. When people can hear that, they can't hear like, you hurt me, and it's your fault. They're not going to hear you.
That is my place. Yeah. So no matter what I say to my husband, if I do feel it's his fault, I can say I feel hurt, but he'll pick up what I'm feeling, right? And he'll pick up that I'm blaming him.
Yeah.
No matter what I say.
It doesn't ever go well. The blaming, the criticism. I was just writing about this for Instagram, where I put out a lot of, free material. It's like, blaming, criticizing, nagging, and defending. That's the four, like, different from what the Gottmans say a little bit, but similar. It's just like, those four are going to get you in trouble. They're going to get you conflict, basically. So pushback, and it's just not going to get you what you think you want. What we all want is closeness, and to be that heard and understood again.
So what would you say to the married woman watching today who wants that closeness, but how do we get rid of the blame? How do we get rid of that cycle? How do we, for me, it's like neurons, it's like an explosion sometimes. And you can say all these things. Yeah.
Blaming is a bad old habit, and I grew up with it, so I get it. It's like, I was a
from your parents, or
always, I was like, who left the food on, who turned on the heat? Like, there's always someone to blame, and looking to point the blame, and here's blame, right? It's that. And so the answer to that is this. It's just turn that finger in and always see that there's three fingers already pointing back at you, right? So instead of like looking for someone else to blame or blaming ourselves, I'm not saying we should blame ourselves, but we should take responsibility and own, like, oh, this is how I contributed to the problem. This is what I did, or this is what I didn't do, or this is what I could have done better, and just really owning our part. Because so much of it is the filters that we're wearing, covering our eyes, that skew our view of things. So especially when you find yourself in the same patterns over and over again with the same person or different people, you've got to know that starts with me, right? And so we need to do our own inner work to uproot some of that, so it's changing the pattern of blaming, but also understanding yourself and honoring yourself, and taking full responsibility for yourself too.
Yeah, look what's going on. I remember sitting at dinner. My husband was so good at not blaming, and I would blame all the time. And it was with his mom and his mom's husband, and we're sitting in the garden, and everybody was just small blame. He said, when you're done passing blame, could you pass me the salt? Because it was just a habit for us. We were trying, like, figuring out what had happened. It's like we're detectives, and then we're blaming, but we want to figure out stuff, like with our intellectual, like our mind, our wrong faculties, right? And I just love the way he said that. And he really genuinely would never blame. Maybe he kept it too much inside, I don't know, but it's just like a role model in like that I've never met in anybody else, because we all have this just a natural habit, right?
It is. I think it's pretty common. Yeah. I love that though, just because you don't have to participate in the blame.
When you're done blaming, would you, passing blame around, could you pass me the salt?
Yeah.
It's just spot on.
Bye. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, amazing, right?
Great.
Amazing man. Yeah, lots to learn. So yeah, I think it's blame spillover. Like, I blame myself, I don't forgive myself, I don't see that. But as long as I blame myself, I'll still blame my kids, because I'm shouting at me when I'm shouting at them, right? And same with my husband. There's a reason for blame. It doesn't just happen. There's an underlying factor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Forgiveness for me is my experience, is what was needed. And still forgive.
Right.
It's like we have ambition, like ambitious wives, our ambition gets in the way. If we didn't have this high expectation and high ambition, there wouldn't be this we wouldn't feel so, oh, why did I do that? And then look for solution or reasons. And when we look for a reason, we start blaming, because we put mommy's just tired or this or that. But it's the ambition, I find. And that's another thing he was brilliant at, was not have any expectations. Maybe sometimes we should have a little bit, but if you take that out of the equation.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I mean, ambition is wonderful because it's motivating, it's energizing, but can we balance that with like self-understanding and like, being kind and forgiving, like you're saying, of ourselves. So, and compassionate towards
ambition for ourselves, not for what he should do, right? For what's in our own little control. Ambition for never saying or thinking anything negative about our husbands, or like ambition that way, where it's not ambition that feels or
right. That's funny. Yeah.
I think we really are going to be loving wives and moms. And when we're not, we just get really sad or angry and annoyed, and then we blame because we're not the loving mother or wife that we're born to be.
Yeah, I think that's such a
Very frustrated. That's all your fault that I'm not the loving wife I'm meant to be. That's really what I felt, right?
And it's really looking at what's the pain underneath that, when we're not acting the way we want to act, there's a certain kind of pain that's involved. Like, oh, that hurts that I yelled at my kids. Like, I was just coaching someone yesterday about that. It's like, I acted in a way, I feel so bad. I didn't want to do that, and it hurts. And so, but we can get mad at ourselves, like you're saying, and then the blame can come out towards ourselves too. And so that's where that self, compassion needs to come out, and also that willingness to do the work to see, like, what sparked that for me? What got so difficult that I had to yell, or that I couldn't handle my emotions anymore, or that I had to, punish, what got in the way for me there, and then sourcing some support around that.
Do you have any tricks for how to get, because I find our husbands are very easy to love. Like, they're scared of us, but I could always go over and hug him, for example. Like, do you have any tricks to create that connection? Because all we long for is the connection. That's why we're angry and we're frustrated, right? It's because we want the connection, whether it's meditating and in universe, but with our husbands. Do you have any words of wisdom to the wife to how to create that?
How to create the connection?
Yeah, or to get from frustrated to fulfilled, right? That's what you feel when you feel the connection.
Yeah. So one awesome tip is words of appreciation or acts of appreciation. Some people might know the 5 love languages. So finding out how your husband or partner likes to be appreciated. But I think most people do well with words of appreciation, and because the women often tend to nag more than men, right? They tend to be, and nagging is like a form of criticism, like, or just pressuring, and there's a common theme that I find with women and couples that I work with, where it's that direction. The woman is the nag and pointing out, you didn't do this and you should do that, and how about more of this, and blah blah blah, kind of complaining. And then the man always feels this pressure, like, I'm not doing it good enough. She's not happy with me. And this is a from what I understand, men tend to feel that already, even before the relationship. Like they have
exactly.
this pressure on themselves. They're already pressuring themselves a lot. There's a lot of pressure from society on men to like be the man and do it perfectly and like, you know, and so be successful. And so then they get more pressure from
Yeah.
the wife. And so that just creates the frustration. And he's like, I can never win with you. You know, you
Tries
never
even
see
less,
that
right?
I
Why
am
it
working
doesn't
so hard.
work? Yeah, why bother?
And appreciate your husband and just point out, you know, and thank him even for the little stuff. Like in my relationship, we just had our 20-year anniversary and we're doing so well.
Congratulations. I was curious about that actually.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
And we've had a ton of harmony, like, and we haven't had difficulty for a long, long time. And part of it is we appreciate each other regularly, and almost every day it's like, you know, the little things like, thank you for doing the dishes, the house looks great, or, you know, hey, I really appreciate you making that phone call, you know, and getting that done. Right now we're actually moving to Costa Rica.
No kidding me. I have a client or a former client in Costa Rica. She just bought a house there. I was just on a call with her. It's amazing in Costa Rica. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's totally beautiful. And this is a huge, super big deal. So we built this house, this beautiful fireplace and everything. And so it's a huge undertaking. It's a lot of stress. But what we find, you know, we went through the stress of building this house. Now we're going to do it again. We're going to move to another country, you know, get rid of 90% of our stuff, build another house. And for us, it could create more tension and strife. And, you know, a lot of couples split up over things like that. But it actually brings us closer because we become a team and we get really supportive of each other and really appreciative is the point of like, you know, like you do this, I do that, you know, and we really encourage each other and also continue the flow of appreciation for everything from the tasks you do around the house to, oh, I like that color on you, or you look sexy tonight, or, you know, whatever it is. Thanks for the way you just, you know, you're touching me right now. It feels really good. So just continuing that flow of appreciation. Yeah. Men need that because they are really hard on themselves. And so we as women, we need to remember that, you know, we need it too. And we can set an example or we can ask for it, but also be generous in your delivery of appreciation for everything.
That's beautiful. That's so important. And what you appreciate appreciates. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's undervalued. We think, you know, oh, that's, you know, trivial to like thank him for doing something he should be doing, like taking out the trash.
Not if you're feeling.
But it's not. It's important to be, everyone needs recognition. And the number one reason people quit their jobs is lack of recognition, they don't feel appreciated. That's the number
not
one
the money. It's never about the money or the
jobs. Yeah, they need to feel, everyone needs to feel appreciated. So don't think it's stupid or don't think it's immature or something. It's important for humanity, for everybody. We all want that. So
thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
There's just something about these interviews. It just lands. I mean, I just feel like I get all this love that you pour out and into me, and I love doing this work. And that really, really landed. And I'm sure it did for a lot of women out there watching that just needed to hear that in that particular way that you can say it. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah. And then do it for yourself. You know, like appreciate yourself 5 times a day, just like you should appreciate your partner, and your kids need it too, because they're developing their self-esteem right now. So they need it instead of the criticism. So, but yeah, the more we can do it for ourselves too, we're going to feel better about ourselves and build our own self-esteem.
Yeah.
All around.
I have the habit of screaming at them, but I also have the habit of really appreciating them because I see it and I really like it. And there's so many things that's valuable that we might as well look at instead of what might not be.
Yeah. Kids need that so much.
Pardon?
I say kids need it so much.
Yeah, definitely, because they're creating their whole self-image. Yeah, they can be big. They are like, we're really like God holds everything in his image. Ooh. Yeah. Beautiful little creatures. So do you have a free gift for the audience? If they want to get more of that appreciation energy and they want to get more of you, I'm sure there's lots out there watching, dying to hear how they can work with you.
Yes, I do. you have the link, hopefully,
Yeah,
'cause I don't
I
have it in
have
front
the
of me.
link and I will
Yeah.
pass it right under the interview when
I'll
you're ready.
tell you about it. Yeah. So what I've put together actually is a mini communication course, and what I call embodied communication, which is, some of what I was speaking about earlier about tuning into what's true. And so I'm going to teach you how to speak the unarguable truth in this 3-part video series, 3 videos and 3 handouts. And a lot of this stuff I don't teach ever, except to women in my group program. So I'm offering that up for free. It's a $300 value, and take advantage of it. It's juicy, and it's gonna start your transformation and getting the kind of connection and intimacy that you really seek. So we're looking at emotions, especially fear, and how to work with fear. We're looking at how to communicate skillfully, how to make skillful requests instead of demands. So it's just and the embodiment piece. So there's a lot of juicy stuff in there.
I love that skillful request and the unarguable truth. That's such a good point, because no guilt, no shame, no fault, no blame. Like there is no right or wrong. There is no argue this or that. It's just, it is what it is.
Well, when you speak the truth, there's nothing to argue about. Like if I say this is a cup, who's going to argue with me? Well, I could say it's a mug, right? But right, it's like if I say, I feel sad, who can argue with that? Like
If you're being honest, yeah, the thing is we lie to ourselves, right? We have these stories. We tell ourselves it's his fault and he just loves us. So it's all our own lying. But if we're truthful, yeah, because fear is a fiction. So the only truth there is love. Like I love Neil Donald Walsh, how he says that every feeling has a sponsored feeling. Everything feeling is sponsored by another feeling. And at the end of it, he says there's love and fear, which I love, but fear, I find, is a fiction. So it doesn't exist. So the only truth is love. And when you feel that, no matter what you say, is unarguable. So
interesting. Yeah. I don't know
So-
that, but I'll have to check it out.
yeah. And you were saying something else. It was embodied communication.
Yeah, that's what I call it. Mhm.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So how to bring in the wisdom of your body into your communication and into your just relationship with yourself and with others, so that you stay connected with yourself. Because that's something I'll talk about in the training, is that often we lose ourselves, right? We're out there, and then we forget about what's going on in here. So this part of the training, you're going to learn how to stay connected to yourself in your relationships. Yeah.
So important. Thank you so much for gifting that. That is such a generous gift. And I'm definitely taking advantage of it. And you too out there, there's no excuse left, right? Taking responsibility. It's like there's no excuse we can take. There's so many beautiful offerings here and so much to do that we can do right away instead of sitting waiting for him to do something, which is you're gonna be waiting for a long time, woman.
Exactly. Do your part and your partner will meet you. I just had a woman in my group sharing the other day. She's like, he's learning it by osmosis. Like I'm the one in the group, but he's like changing.
I love that osmosis.
Like, yes.
I love that expression. Oh my God. I have to write down all these things that I've learned. I get so many. Thank you so much, Robyn. It's been a pleasure. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I'm sure that we will too. Take
beautiful space for all of us and for supporting so many women and transforming their relationships. It's really important work.
Yeah. So grab that very, very generous gift and let me know in the group how it works out for you. To the woman watching with us today, I'm excited to hear how it's going to work out for you to learn all of Robyn's stuff. So thank you so much. Mwah. And good journey to Costa Rica. Oh my God, so excited for you.
That's next time we talk.
All
Okay,
right.
bye
Thanks
everybody.
for tuning in. Bye you guys. See you tomorrow.